Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell, daylight savings time, so get 11 hours of sleep. Oh man, caught up on all the lack of sleep throughout the week. Alright, so where's Zion, Mormons? It's right here in Utah. Oh, really? Have you been paying attention to the news about what's going on in Zion? Where there's supposed to be no poor in Zion. Oops! We just took away the homeless shelters that were brand newly built away from the homeless, leaving them homeless again. Yeah, you didn't catch that news? You didn't watch my other videos? ABC4 News Utah, that's my source. Those 3 shelters are saying, hey, government of Utah, we need $3.5 million or we're shutting them down. So Governor Gary Herbert, for the first time ever, declares a state of emergency in order to receive government federal funding. God. So, yeah, this is not Zion, guys. This has nothing to do with Zion. You have the church who has bishop storehouses, and yet they're not prepared if there were even a national emergency or a state emergency. Bishop storehouses are not sufficient to handle a state emergency. Got insider information. I'm in this particular ward, and there was an insider who informed me of that situation. And so the church doesn't even follow the Boy Scouts mottos and slogans and whatevers to be prepared. And so what is the church doing now? Well, the church got busted not giving to charity because of their Ensign Peak associates. So what do? They funnel other charity from other than Ensign Peak associates to give to charitable organizations. The church is a charity. Why are they giving to charity if they are the charity? So again, Mormons, this is not God's church. This is not Zion. I read to you Joseph Smith's speech from 19 July 1840, which he says that Zion needs to be built before the coming of Christ. Before. Not after, not during. What's interesting in the Book of Mormon, if you've been paying attention, is that Lehi leaves Old Jerusalem. And where does he end up? The land of bountiful. Prosperous. Prosperity. That's the whole concept. Is that you survive Armageddon by building Zion, a prosperous city. But then the story continues. And Nephi now takes over. Nephi says, we're building a boat. And so he magically builds a boat, right? Because that's what faith is, right? You just believe and it automatically happens for you, right? No. He has faith from the revelation he gets to build a boat. He builds the boat according to the pattern of his revelation. The physical manifestation of the boat is good. Comes from God, therefore. That's faith. to fulfillment, manifestation. So when you go back to Moroni chapter 10, verse 3 through 5, you've got to put back in the word manifest. He will manifest the truth of it unto you. The finished boat. The dormant faith. Faith no more. If you don't get that boat, you ain't got good faith. Faith without works is dead. You thought works was action. Nope. It's the finished product. Like an artwork. And so, what is the fruits of his faith? After building the boat, he goes to the promised land, the New Jerusalem. And I shared with you that link to Carly Simon's video, Let the River Run, the New Jerusalem. And so, where is the Book of Mormon found? On the New Jerusalem. Who is the Book of Mormon to? Those in the New Jerusalem. What is it talking about? The end of the world. The takeover of America by a king. And the destruction of the world. And so, what about Zion? Oh yeah, Joseph Smith was going to build Zion in southern Illinois. That was his plan. He was murdered. Never happened. So here we are in Utah instead, in violation of the warning by Jesus himself in Matthew chapter 24. Somebody says, I'm in the desert, don't go with him. Alright, so we have Isaiah. The words of Isaiah. Yay. It's talking about the latter days in Isaiah. That's why the Book of Mormon has it plagiarized from the 1769 version. Chapter 35, verse 10. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion. You know that church hymn, Mormons? Come to Zion, come to Zion. Where is it? This isn't Zion. I've already confirmed that to you. You have to have the fruits to establish that this is Zion. And we've got no fruit. We've got the other fruit of spoiled, rotten, impure, etc. We were supposed to have Zion built, already going, already taking care of the poor, all prosperous, all safe, a refuge. So the ransomed of the Lord throughout the world shall return to Zion, with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. And they shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Oops! Has sorrow and sighing fleed away in Zion here in Utah? Nope, because the Mormon women are the highest per capita who take depression meds. That's not Zion. And so again, let's do more. 51, verse 11. Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return. Hey, I'm noticing a pattern here. And come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. My goodness, he just repeated himself. They shall obtain gladness. You think he's emphasizing this. And sorrow and mourning shall flee away. No more depression meds. Jeremiah. The voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord our God, the vengeance of his temple. Oops. Again, where's the temple, Mormons? I just saw the temple. supposed to last throughout the millennium. Again, there is no evidence that this is Zion. When you have poor, when you have depression, when you have bondage, people are getting paid not enough in the jobs that they have, where they live check to check to check. That's slavery. So again, this is not Zion, Mormons. And then we get into 2 Nephi 8, where he plagiarizes Isaiah. That's because they had the brass plates. And again, everybody misses it. The brass plates is the manifestation of what's supposed to be Ezekiel 37's fulfillment. Stick of Judah, stick of Joseph. What is the brass plates? It's a record of the Jews and the genealogy of Joseph. Both books together in one. Just like Reese's. Chocolate and peanut butter together in one. Now I got a sweet tooth going. Alright. Section 45. And it shall be called the New Jerusalem, a land of peace, a city of refuge. Is Utah a land of peace, a city of refuge? Hell no! I gave the church my decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew. What did they do to me? They blacklisted me. So when I couldn't get my kids back, when the Canadian government said, yeah, you gotta come up here, American boy. The governor said, oh, you have to obey the Canadian law. That's what we do here in America. And so I take the matter to court. What else do I do? I'm getting shut down everywhere. I'm being financially ruined thanks to Office of Recovery Services, who don't even bother to listen to me. Hey, I didn't get to sign this divorce. That's tough. We obey Canadian law. And we're taking out more than 50% from your paycheck. This is not peace and refuge. This is not safety. And so I sue. I sue the government. I sue the church, because the church helped her. And what do? I get disappeared. Because this isn't a city of peace, a city of refuge, a city of safety for the saints of the Most High God. Nope, this is not it, you guys. If you think it is, then you're living in La La Land. You're supposed to have it built before the coming of Christ. Before. Not after. Jesus comes and kills the wicked, and therefore, oh, okay, now we'll build you a city and a throne with a temple. Yeah. Have you not read the parables in the New Testament? You've got to have it done before. The Lord of the vineyard is coming. You need to have things done, harvested, gathered, oil collected. You guys are missing the whole point of the scriptures because you're waiting for the prophet to tell you, okay, we're going to go build the city of Zion now. Every Mormon I know of you, I know you guys, I've heard you throughout my life. We're waiting. It's going to be exciting. I wonder how it'll happen. We'll get a mission call. You got played as chumps, guys. Joseph Smith was murdered by his own people, of which he said was going to happen. That 1840 talk. There are those here right now whom I'm talking to who want me dead. He went through the whole Last Supper in 1840. And the glory of the Lord shall be there. And the terror of the Lord shall be there, insomuch that the wicked will not come into it, and it shall be called Zion. Are there wicked in Utah? Oh, Mormons will rise up and say, oh, yes, there is. Yes, there is. My neighbor, he didn't come to church. Oh, my God. Guess what it means, Mormons? We're not Zion. We're not prepared. And it shall come to pass among the wicked that every man that will not take sword against his neighbor must needs flee unto Zion for safety. Guess what? There's no Zion. Everybody's taken up sword against their neighbor now. It's already happened. But there's no place to flee for safety. We did not build Zion. It's not here. We're doomed. The world is going to be wasted at his coming. And there shall be gathered out of every nation of under heaven, and it shall be the only people that shall not be at war one with another. Oops. Have you been watching the news here in Utah? We have guys going to prison for murder. We have rape at the highest level. We can't even keep up with the rape kits, and I'm sure they're not really trying very hard either. We have violence all over. A missionary from out of country, a Mormon missionary, his mission call is to Utah. So what do the Utah Mormon boys do to him? They beat the hell out of him. 64 boys ganged up on this missionary, one of their own. He's just from another country. And they beat the hell out of him. Zion. A place of land of peace, a city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints. And here I am condemning you Mormons. And what you guys are doing to me? You've already given up on this video. You've given me a thumbs down, and you're wondering, why isn't the thumbs down showing up? Why can't I see it? I'll show him. Travis, you're evil. You're an antichrist. You're the apostate. And again, it continues in section 45, and it shall be said among the wicked, let us not go up to battle against Zion, for the inhabitants of Zion are terrible, wherefore we cannot stand. And it shall come to pass that the righteous shall be gathered out from among all nations. They have to flee unto Zion for safety, and shall come to Zion singing with songs of everlasting joy. A reworking of Isaiah. And here again in section 133 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Yea, let the cry go forth among all people, awake and arise, and go forth to meet the bridegroom. Oh, gee, we're connecting with the parables of Jesus now. Behold, and lo, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Prepare yourselves for the great day of the Lord. How do you prepare? You build Zion. We didn't do it. We failed. Watch, therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour. Oops, we actually do know the day and the hour. John the Revelator gave it to us. I'll get to that in a second here. Let them, therefore, who are among the Gentiles flee unto Zion. And again, he says in 13, and let them who be of Judah flee unto Jerusalem, unto the mountains of the Lord's house. Joseph Smith in 1840 said specifically, we're building Zion and the New Jerusalem and other cities in southern Illinois. Nauvoo in northern Illinois is going to be among the greatest cities. The cities are going to be built like mountains, pyramids, and I've shown you my famous picture that has been my inspiration ever since I got the inspiration of how to design and build New Jerusalem, Zion. And this was before I knew about the 1840 talk of Joseph's. And let them who be of Judah. New Jerusalem is in America. The Jews were supposed to flee to America. And so the Jews who fled to America got it right. Morning tears. Go ye out from among the nations, even from Babylon, from the midst of wickedness, which is spiritual Babylon. But verily, thus saith the Lord, let not your flight be in haste. This is way back in 1830. It's now haste time. But let all things be prepared before you, and he that goeth, let him not look back, lest sudden destruction shall come upon him. That's the destruction of Sodom, with Lot's wife, who looked back. And then the last, Moses 7, that's Zion is, Enoch's Zion is supposed to return. Can't return if there's no Zion on earth. They're supposed to unite together. Alright. So let me go to the exact date of the latter days. The coming of Christ even. Chapter 12. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. There's the date right there. Don't you see it? What, you don't have a stellarium.org program? This event only occurred once in all of human history, Earth's history. Because of the way we are positioned in the heavens, that sign only occurred once. And it's come and gone. And where's Zion? Where is our being prepared? I mean, the church has hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And they say in their first presidency statement, as they've been condemned for hoarding hundreds and hundreds of billions, oh, we're just following the parable of the talents, where we're supposed to hoard money and give it to Jesus when he comes. Here, Jesus, here's the hundreds of billions. What the hell? I mean, that's worse than the one guy who buries his talent, saying he doesn't want to lose it. Here you go, here's your money back. See, that's what Jesus was trying to tell there with that parable. You're supposed to build the city of Zion with the money I gave you. And instead, the church thinks that they're going to hand Jesus a check. Here you go. What's he going to do with the money? He doesn't need the money. He wants people to be prospered in a city of peace. And yet the church is twisting the parables to justify hoarding money and neglecting the poor, as they give charity to cover their asses. Oh, we're not paying charity? Well, we'll show you. We're giving to charity a token truckload of food. Because it's spoiling on our Bishop's storehouse shelves. my God. What a nightmare. Born and raised in this church. I thought this was going to be the greatest church ever, and I was all excited to help build Zion. That we were going to get the call to go to Missouri to build Zion, to save the Constitution from the kingman tyrant who wants to put a king on the throne of America and destroy the constitutional republic that we were supposed to have. And instead I get disappeared from society. I get attacked by my own church. Where is Zion? Because it's nowhere to be found. And the time is up. And the earth is now going to be wasted at the coming of the Lord. Let's see if I can find that scripture. No. We need search. Wasted at his coming. Yeah, it's quoting from Malachi. Yeah, Malachi. Joseph Smith repeats it multiple times. I wonder why. And he quoted the next verse differently. And he shall plant in the hearts of the children of the promises made to the fathers, and the hearts of the children to turn to their fathers. If it were not so, the whole earth would be utterly wasted at his coming. In section 138, foreshadowing the great work to be done in the temples of the Lord, dispensation full of time for the redemption of the dead, sealing the children to parents, lest the whole earth be smitten with a curse and utterly wasted at his coming. That was Joseph Fielding Smith's dream. Here we have more about being prepared and building Zion. Section 101, verse 18. Zion shall not be moved out of her place, notwithstanding her children are scattered. They that remain are the pure in heart, shall return and come to their inheritances, they and their children, with songs of everlasting joy, to build up the waste places of Zion. You can't have Zion if you don't build it up. Section 2. Again, Elijah. Before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Before. And if it were not so, the whole earth would be utterly wasted at his coming. This is the fruits of a corrupt organization, Mormons. Corrupt church. The church leaders failed to build Zion. And so what's going to happen as the consequences? Do what is right, let the consequences follow. Battle for freedom in spirit and truth. And with stout hearts looking forth to tomorrow. Remember? Choose the right rings that you wear. The whole earth utterly wasted at his coming. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, led by prophets, seers, and revelators, who claim to know the coming, who claim to say, hey, we know how to build Zion and we'll build it. They don't build it. What does that mean, Mormons? What does that mean? That means they're not prophets, seers, and revelators. They failed us. They lied to us. They deceived us. They are purposely wanting the wasting of the world at his coming. Joseph Smith planned to be prepared, but was murdered. And from Brigham Young to Nelson, nothing. We're not ready. We're not prepared. The time has come, and the church doesn't care. They've got their hundreds of billions. Oh, yeah, whenever he comes, we'll hand him over the hundreds of billions. Well, guess what, guys? It's me now that they get to hand over that money to. The lawsuit I have. They have to hand it over now. Because of what they did to me in 2008, when they had me disappeared. Okay, I'm the Christ. Yay! But I have to start from scratch. That is my plan, to build the mountain cities. But I have to start from scratch. As the world is at war, as America has been coup d'etat. Utterly wasted. We now have to rush. See, China, they rushed to build hospitals when this coronavirus hit. They were able to build 2 massive hospitals within a couple of days. They're that good. However, one of the structures that they built hastily collapsed this past week. 70 people were trapped. That's the problem of doing things in haste, is that the people may not do that quality of a job. We're now in an emergency situation. The church failed us. They didn't build Zion. They didn't have a place prepared for refugees from the world to gather them in. And instead the church says, oh, gather in your own place. Pay us the tithing though. Alright. I'll keep redoing this version, I guess, until finally Mormons listen. Because if I figure out the right title, and if it goes with an actual national news event coverage, people pay attention.